Hello, I'm Irma Baker. Welcome to our show. We're sponsored by RSVP, the Retired Senior Volunteer Program, which is part of Mature Services, serving Medina County and Summit County, and definitely a very helpful organization within our community. Well, there are other things that are very helpful to us, and one of our big topics every year is the one we're going to talk about today. We'll be right back after this message with today's guest.
RSVP of Summit County has been making a difference in our community since 1972. RSVP volunteers are increasing the quality of life by participating in programs and organizations that provide important services to the community. RSVP matches personal interests and skills with opportunities to serve. If you're interested in adding more meaning to your life and improving the lives of others, please call 330-253-4597, extension 166.
Welcome back. Those of you who have watched our show in previous years are already knowing just who our guest is today. It's one of our favorite guests, Robert Fenn. He is the Public Affairs Specialist for Social Security. This is just a time when Social Security is on all of our minds. And Robert, it's always glad to have you here to give us an update and let us know what's coming and what's been done. So yes. Welcome. Glad to have you back.
Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And this is a topic, Social Security, that I love to talk about, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the opportunity again.
Well, what's new? Give us an update on what's happening.
Yes, 2018, and it's already here. Each year, Social Security beneficiaries look to find out the end of the year whether or not the next coming year, if there's going to be a cost of living adjustment. Some people call it the COLA, not the POP, but cost of living adjustment. And so this year, because of there is being a 2.0% cost of living adjustment, that has caused some other changes. So the first thing is individuals should have realized by now that effective in January, there was a 2% cost of living increase in their Social Security benefits for those who are getting retirement, disability, and SSI benefits. Now, those who were receiving SSI benefits received their payment at the end of December. And those who were receiving retirement or disability benefits, they received that 2% increase in their payments throughout the month of January. Now, as a result of having a cost of living adjustment, there are some other changes. One of the things is there is a certain amount in which Social Security taxes continue to be taken from out of an individual's pay. That means that if someone is making $128,400 or less, that Social Security tax, the FICA taxes, continue to be withdrawn up to that dollar amount. Now, if someone is receiving Medicare taxes, those Medicare taxes continue throughout someone's, throughout their income, regardless of their income. So if they're making $1 million, they're still taking the 1.45% out for Medicare taxes. I say that just to bring this point up, that many individuals may not be aware that since January of 2013, if someone is making $200,000 or more, or $250,000 as a couple, that individual is getting an additional 0.9% for Medicare taxes. So they will pay 2.35% for their Medicare taxes. And that's just the beginning as far as some of those changes that Social Security has because of the cost of living increase. Another basic component is how much it takes to earn a credit. That dollar amount has gone up from $1,300 last year to $1,320 gross this year.
Boy, this really sounds like it's a lot of number crunching that is going to just make heads spin.
It's possible. It's quite possible, yes.
So what else is there that we should know about?
A couple other little changes. And I would say this is par for the course, meaning that, again, if someone hears that there's going to be a cost of living increase, there are other things that are affected. I just mentioned the tax amount, $128,400. I just mentioned the amount to earn a credit, $1,320. Now, I bring that up intentionally because sometimes individuals would like to go back out into the workforce. Maybe they have started getting a Social Security benefit already. They worked, started getting Social Security. Then say, I want to go back to work. Well, maybe someone had not earned their 40 credits, which is the number of credits needed to be insured or to be eligible for a payment. And maybe they're at 30, 35, and they're saying, okay, if I go back to work, what does it take for me to get those 40? Well, that $1,320 is the dollar amount. Now, if someone is already getting a Social Security payment, and let's say that they are going to file for his or her Social Security retirement payments, this year, in 2018, that dollar amount has changed in order to, that we call an annual earnings test. This year, if someone makes $17,040 or less, they're eligible to receive all of their Social Security benefits that they're eligible for. So if I'm age 62 and I file for my Social Security benefits, Social Security is going to ask, are you working? And if they're less than that for retirement age, they're going to say, are you making more or less than the $17,040? Then there's a little math calculation we do if they're making more than that. If someone is turning 66 this year, for the full retirement age has gone up as well. That's another change. The full retirement age is going up. For someone who's turning 66 this year, if they were turning 66 this year, their full retirement age, we have a dollar amount which we would look at, and that's $45,360. So they can make $45,360 that year that they're turning the full retirement age. Those who are 62 this year, their full retirement age is going up to 66 in 4 months. That's why I brought that up. So there's a certain dollar amount which we have to look at based upon your age. Now, once someone hits their full retirement age, it doesn't matter how much they make. They can make $1 million a month, as we say in the office sometimes, and it has no effect on their Social Security earnings.
I don't think any of us are making $1 million a year, let alone
well, we keep
month.
looking for those people there.
Yeah, right. Yes. But you and I are not in that category.
Not in that category.
And probably never going to be there. But I think it's important to remind people that the age at which they start receiving their Social Security benefits, the Social Security payment, that monthly payment, that still stays firm. If you go at 62, it's not going to go up when you get to 66 or 67.
Excellent, excellent. Sometimes I receive phone calls and someone will let me know, well, Robert, today is my birthday. I turned age 66. Why didn't my check go up? Well, I'll review their record and then I will see, oh, you have been receiving your Social Security payment since age 62. And what that means is that you are locked into that dollar amount, age 62 amount, whatever, as you mentioned, it's a reduced amount since they filed before their full retirement age, and then unless there's a cost of living adjustment, that dollar amount stays the same. And so my only response to that individual is happy birthday, right? Because their Social Security benefits are, again, locked into that amount. Now, let's keep this in mind. Some individuals think, well, I missed an opportunity. You have to think about the opposite side of that. This individual that I'm using my example received a Social Security payment for 4 years. All right, and so therefore that was additional monies that they had coming to them, as opposed to someone who may decide to wait to age 66. And it's good for the listeners to know that I know they have friends and family, and some of those individuals may speak to them and say, this is why you should do your filing at this age, and this is why I did it. I encourage everyone to find out what's best for you and your family, as opposed to trying to find out how someone else did it, because someone can file just 1 month different than you. Social Security uses your top 35 years over your lifetime. So what if someone only had 30 years? What if someone's top 35 is not the same as yours? So we want to find out, so you can find out what the best answer is for you, so then you can make a better educated choice.
Well, now I have to ask you this. How do people go about figuring that out?
Yes, yes. Well, one of the easiest things that an individual can do is go to our website at socialsecurity.gov. Socialsecurity.gov is our website. Within that website, we have a portal. That portal is called mysocialsecurity.gov. Mysocialsecurity.gov is a portal in which an individual can click on that link and answer a series of questions that is only specific to you. You answer those questions, and then you are creating an account. You create an account. Within that account, you can see your Social Security statement. The Social Security statement will show you all the years in which that you have worked, and then you can see, well, what earnings have you made? They're going to be part of your top 35 years. Now, that Social Security statement, you can review it, you can go from there, you can create estimates of what if you were to make a different dollar amount per year. that can be added on there. Or you can say, well, let me just use based upon my actual earnings, and it will give you an estimate of how much you can receive at the age of 62, at your full retirement age, and or at age 70. Those dollar amounts will all be there for you. Now, I will say this, in prior years, the Social Security statements themselves, they were mailed out. We would mail them out, and years ago, we would mail them out 3 months before your birthday. Then that was changed. Then it was mailed out in 5-year cycles, starting at age 25, 30, 35, etc. Now those Social Security statements are continuing to be mailed out once someone reaches age 60. They're mailed out 3 months before their birthday, so they get that one time per year at age 60. If someone signs up for a My Social Security account, that means they have access. That means we will not mail that Social Security statement out because they could obtain it, they can download it, save it, print it out, and look at it any other time that they have. So the My Social Security portal is an option, a great option for individuals to stay abreast of what's recorded for their Social Security earnings.
One of the big differences then, if you set up an account on this portal, which is essentially a site on the computer, one of the big differences between that and the paper statement is the paper statement was just that paper. You had to do all the figuring yourself if you wanted to. But if you go and set up an account on this My Social Security portal, which you access from the Social Security site,
That's right.
then there are all these mathematical calculations that can be done to help you figure out,
That's right.
well, this or that, or maybe I should, or maybe I shouldn't.
That's right.
All of that, which you really can't do as easily if all you're getting is a paper statement.
Yeah, it's just taking it just to that next level. So the Social Security statement itself, the paper form as you mentioned, it would show you those hard numbers. It will show you age 62, 66, and age 70 on that statement, and you will see your earnings on that. But like you said, we do have other options on our website, so you can use those same numbers and kind of make some projections, or just see, okay, what numbers am I dealing with? So it's a great option to use.
How computer literate do you have to be in order to use that My Social Security?
It asks very simple questions in terms of registering for the account. I've done it myself. Now, my mother, God bless her, she said, I am not certain if I want to use this computer, what have you. And I know that there are some people who say things like, I know what a computer is, I've seen it, but I just don't like it. That's okay too. This is another option for individuals. So I don't want to make anyone think that, okay, this is the only way. No, this is a good way for you to obtain your information. It's very simple. It asks basic questions. One of the questions it asked me is, did I ever live on 5 different streets? And so I remember the streets that I lived on. If the street was there, I clicked on it. Answer those questions. That allows me to set up the account. Now, as far as my actual earnings, because one of the questions is your Social Security number, it's pulling up your actual information. So everything is going to be propagated for you. So it's not as if you say, oh, I don't remember this step or that. Everything is going to be there. And then there's self-explanatory, there's sentences there to say, okay, would you like to estimate my benefit? You click that. So there's very simple steps on there that anyone can follow.
How secure is the site?
Yes, nothing that Social Security puts out will be placed out into the public until we have a confirmed comfort level of how strong our encryption is, and that is going to be the utmost safety for all individuals who are utilizing our website. So it's very safe, very secure, it's easy to use, and it's something that, in my opinion, I like to look at it this way. Some individuals will say, because one of the fastest growing demographics of using the internet are those who are over age 65. That's one point. The other point is, if you look at someone who's age 65 today and just say, go back 10 years, they're age 55. Is it possible there was a computer around that person? The answer is going to be yes. The answer is going to be either whether on their job. The answer is going to be yes, whether they're going to the local grocery store. There's a computer some way. We're scanning certain items. And what I like to do is I ask individuals, hold up your phone. And individuals will grab their phone and I say, do you realize that's not just a phone, that is a computer you're using as a phone. That's what it actually is. So sometimes I think the word computer maybe still has a little stigma to it, and individuals may think, oh, this is this big calculation thing that I can't use. you have used a computer, it just may have been in a different form. So yes, very easy to use, and I would say again, very safe to use.
Well, that brings up this whole issue of money and safety and security and all that brings us to the wonderful issue of this is tax season.
Oh, yes.
Now, what can you tell us about Social Security and taxes?
Yes, yes. During this season, people do ask questions to Social Security as far as how it relates to taxes. Now, let me make sure I preface this and I say that I am not a tax representative. I represent Social Security, but I can answer the questions in terms of how Social Security comes into play. One of the things is that when someone goes to file their taxes, certain services may say, may we see your Social Security card? Sometimes individuals, they misplace their card or they just can't find it. So they will return to Social Security and say, I would like to have my Social Security card replaced. Great, how do I do that? Well, the easiest thing that someone can do is bring in your driver's license or state ID that's current, and we will ask certain questions, and then we can have that card reissued to you in 10 to 14 days or less. So that's one thing. I must let the public know, it's just a common thing. People will come in and they'll say, I have my birth certificate. Isn't that all I need? Well, I must let everyone know again, your birth certificate is proof that you were born. We all know that that's true, right? Yeah. Now, what we are looking for is something that establishes your identity since that date. That's why we do not use the birth certificate. The only time we will request a birth certificate is if there's a difference between the year of birth in which you reported. Your birthday was on June 6th and we had somehow June 7th, or you thought it was something different. Then we will request a birth certificate to verify the changing of that document as far as on our records. Now, another thing as far as the taxes is concerned, people ask, well, do I need to pay taxes, Social Security taxes, you know, or taxes on my Social Security benefits?
Well, let me back up here just a minute, Robert, and ask you, if all you're getting, if all your income is Social Security, do you even have to file taxes?
Yes, great question, and that's where I was going with that, is that if someone, the average Social Security benefit for the year is around 16 grand. In that case, the answer is more than likely, the answer is no, they are not. But what I have found is that some individuals think just because they get Social Security, they think I do not have to file taxes, and that's not so. The easiest way that I have learned and to understand this is that there's something we call a MAGI, Modified Adjusted Gross Income. And what that means is that an individual can add all of their income, their tax exempt, all of their income that they have, take half of their Social Security. So find out what half of your Social Security is for the year, that dollar amount plus your other income, add the two together. If that total for a single individual is less than $25,000, then more than likely there's not going to be any need to file any taxes from that Social Security earnings. If they are married and that total is over $32,000, okay, well, excuse me, underneath $32,000, no need. If they're single and it's over $25,000, then it's possible that IRS can tax up to 0 to 50% of their Social Security earnings. If they were married and it goes over that $32,000 up to $34,000, they can tax up to 0 to 50%. And there's a $44,000 amount that they look on both sides for an individual or a couple, then we can tax up to 85%. Now again, I refer everyone back to IRS just to make sure to see, you know, should it be taxed. But the simple component that they look for is taking their total income, taking half of Social Security, adding that total, and seeing if that total amount is higher than what those base amounts that I mentioned, the $25,000 or the $32,000 amounts.
So when you boil it down like that, it makes it a lot simpler. And we were going through and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, all these mathematical calculations in here. Yes. But we are talking about money, and money is something that is at the center of all our lives.
That's right.
Well, what else should we know? What else is going on here?
Yes. Well, in terms of the tax component, Social Security each year by January 31st, we've already mailed out what we call an SSA 1099. The SSA 1099 is a document which is recorded the dollar amounts in which you see for the year. If someone files for their taxes, one of the questions is going to be, did you receive a Social Security or retirement or railroad board or some other type of benefit, federal payment? That is going to be referring to that SSA 1099. That SSA 1099 is what someone could take, again, whether they're filing taxes on their own, by themselves, or through a tax service. And that document is going to be needed to verify their earnings. Sometimes I come across individuals who say, you know what, I've been married for 30-some years and I never changed my name. Is that a problem? Then I will say to them, okay, don't tell me. You need to make sure that you have contacted Social Security to have that recorded, because IRS, from my understanding, they will verify that individual's name, what they're filing through, with Social Security. So they'll look to see your name is Smith, now your name is Jones. You know, born Smith, name is Jones. You hadn't recorded that name. You hadn't filed those taxes underneath the name of Jones. You've always used Smith. So eventually IRS, yes, they're going to want you to make sure you change that name. If there hasn't been any issue, I still would say contact IRS, and then if you need to contact Social Security, we will ask for your driver's license and your marriage certificate. Then we can make the change to match those records up.
So it's all a matter of getting everything straightened out and in the right order, so that you are you are you are you,
yes,
and not mistaken for anybody else.
That's right.
Well, besides the Social Security checks, well, we don't get checks anymore. I mean, it's direct deposit and all, digital age that
Yes.
we're in. But the other big component is Medicare. What's going on with Medicare?
Yes, Medicare. There are some changes in 2018 for Medicare, and I'll start with the component of excuse me, of Medicare's Part A. And Medicare Part A, there is a dollar amount for those individuals. Let's say someone did not work. You still could apply for Medicare Part A. You would just have to pay for that Medicare Part A premium, and that will be $422. If someone did work, and let's say they only had 30 to 39 credits as opposed to the 40, because once someone gets 40.
Let me
Yes.
interrupt here. When you say work, you don't mean work in that particular year. You mean work through their life?
Through their lifetime. Through their lifetime, yes, thank you. And so if someone worked and they only earned 30 to 39 credits, they can get a reduced amount as far as their Medicare Part A premium. That will be $232. So that has changed from last year. The Medicare Part B premium has stayed the same. You know, so that's $134. $134 would be the Medicare Part B premium that is deducted from the Social Security payment. Now, that's just a little small part in terms of Medicare. The big conversation that I am receiving is Medicare cards, because since 2015, President Barack Obama had signed a law that stated that they could make a change meaning that the Social Security number can be removed, will be removed from the Medicare cards. So there's going to be a new thing called a Medicare beneficiary identity. So that's what's going to be. An MBI is going to be placed on, it's a unique number for that Medicare card. Now, this is the part that I want people to really pay attention to. This event meaning when they're going to start mailing out these new Medicare cards, is going to start taking place April of 2018, okay? And it's going to continue all the way through April 2019. So I want to make sure, there's some basic things I want people all to listen to and take note if you have to. The first thing, whatever Social Security has listed as your address is the address in which that Medicare card is going to be mailed to you. I have found out that some individuals, they make sure that their Social Security cash payment, that direct deposit that you just mentioned, they make sure that we have the correct routing number and the account number, but sometimes people don't update their address. And so their address is how they're going to mail out these new Medicare cards. That's the first thing. The next thing is, once they get that card, they can shred the old one. And notice, I'm using the word shred, so I want them to shred it up, not just put it away somewhere. I want you to shred up that old card. That's another thing that you can do. Something they also should remember is that just because your friend and family or neighbors have received their card, that does not mean you were supposed to get your card too. These cards are going to be mailed out in cycles. And so they're going to go across the states and mailing out these Social Security, these Medicare cards. And so do not think, well, I haven't got mine yet, but Sally has. Well, Sally may have been one of the first batches of those Medicare cards that they're going to mail out. And I have a little note here I want to make sure Be aware of any phone calls. Medicare nor Social Security will be calling individuals to say, what is your address? We already have it. There's not going to be a need. So if someone says, hey, we need your address so that way we can mail out your new Medicare card.
So the issue there is beware of scams.
Beware of scams.
Beware of scams.
Yes.
Don't let anybody, so no phone calls
Right.
from Social Security, no phone calls from Medicare. And we have no more time, Robert.
Oh.
We're out of time again.
Yes.
It's always so wonderful having you with us. You give us so much information. Thank you so much for being with us. And I thank all of you, too, for viewing today, for tuning in to our show. We hope you have a wonderful day and that you come back and visit us again. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Since 1971, RSVP has been matching volunteers' talents to community needs. RSVP is affiliated with the Corporation for National and Community Service, a national organization that supports service and volunteering through grant-funded projects. Volunteers organize neighborhood watch programs, tutor children, renovate homes, plant community gardens, assist victims of natural disasters, and serve their communities in many other ways. RSVP offers maximum flexibility and choice to its volunteers as it matches the personal interests and skills of Americans 55 and older with opportunities to serve their communities. If you're interested in adding more meaning to your life and improving the lives of others, please call 330-253-4597 extension 166.